Hey, what is going on, guys? It is Young here, and today I have a tips and tricks video for you guys. I'm going to be showing you guys how you can build faster in Fortnite and improve your building so you can outbuild and win a lot more games. Building is such an important part of Fortnite, and being able to build fast is also very important. And I'm going to give you guys a few tips and techniques that I use that help me build faster and how you guys can improve your building as well. In this video, I'm going to be hopping into playground mode to show you my tips and techniques, and as well things that I practice to get me better at building. Playground is the perfect mode to do it in, and it's definitely what I would recommend hopping into if you want to get better at building, because you have max materials pretty much, and you can practice by yourself or with friends. And before we get into the video, make sure you guys hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and make sure to turn on my post notifications to get notified every single new video. And alright guys, let's get into the video. The first thing that you should practice and should master is the double ramp rush with walls. This is really effective. I use this almost on a game basis. You know, it does burn through a lot of mats, so it's more like for the late game, but this is really effective in rushing an enemy. And in this clip here, it's me doing all the way to max height, and I did it pretty flawless. I don't think I messed up once. I got all the way to max height without messing up, which is pretty dope. This is something you guys need to learn, and it's really effective in game. And like I said, these are on a game-to-game basis pretty much, and it's really effective. It's a really good skill to have, and I'm going to show you guys exactly how you can do this and the easiest way to do this technique. Alright, so the first thing you want to do is you want to have turbo building on, of course, and what you want to do is you basically, for the two ramp layers, you want to hold left trigger and just drag it from left to right. And with turbo building on, it automatically builds when you hold and drag. So you just want to hold down the left trigger and drag your analog stick from left to right, and it'll build both of them. And you want to do in this motion here, it's kind of like a clock motion or a circular motion. This is the best way to do it, and it's something, if you guys don't do it like this, you need to practice like this. It's definitely the best way to do this method, and you don't want to go side to side. That's another thing that some people do. It's not the most effective way. It doesn't really work that well because it'll mess you up. When you try to put the walls in, it'll mess you up. And right here, if you practice this without the walls, it's just practice doing the clock motion with the ramps, and you don't need to worry about the walls yet. Just hold the left trigger and keep going in that circular motion. You'll get used to it. Once you get comfortable with this, you know, the next thing is to put in the walls, because you want to put in the walls if you're rushing a guy. Putting the walls is really important for blocking their shots so they can't knock you down as fast. And I'm going to show you what it looks like in slow motion, so I'm going to do it right here. So you want to hold the left trigger, drag it from left to right, and as soon as you get to the right side, you want to drag the right trigger. If you're playing on Better Pro, which you should, drag it from right to left. So it's the walls go to the left and then the ramps go back to the right. And you want to go and keep going in this motion. And this is the easiest way to do it. It might feel kind of weird at first, but like I said, if you have turbo building on, you don't need to keep pressing. You don't have to keep clicking each wall. You can just literally hold the left trigger from left to right, and then hold the right trigger from right to left. You don't have to keep clicking for every wall. You can just hold and drag and hold and drag, and it's really effective that way because you don't have to keep pressing every single wall. So it's a lot easier to do with turbo building on, and you can do it the other way too. Personally, I like to go from left to right, and that's the best way to do double ramp push with walls. But the second tip right here is something that's really effective when you're trying to push someone on the high ground and they're shooting down at you, is when you want to ramp up and then you want to put the floor in front of you, so when they try to shoot at you, they shoot at the floor instead of hitting you. Because some people, they'll try when they're rushing up on a guy, they'll try to put the wall, but the thing with the wall, you know, there's a lot of times where you're gonna rush and then you're gonna get tagged, because when you put the wall, you kind of have to give yourself open for about like a half a second to a second, and you can get tagged a lot of times. But with this here, it's the best way to try to avoid getting shot and still ramp up to the guy who's on the high ground that you're trying to get to. You know, the best way to get up is, you know, basically go from a side, and, you know, when they're not looking at you. But if the only way to get to them is, you know, in front of them and they're looking down at you shooting, you know, this is probably one of the best ways to get up, and this is definitely something you should practice. You know, it really helps for getting on the high ground without taking damage. So that's really important. When you want to get to somebody, you want to take the least amount of damage possible. You don't want to get to someone and have like 20 health, because chances are you're gonna have no health, and it's gonna be really hard to win that gunfight. And basically the main idea for this one is you want to try to get the floor panel, you know, up as quick as you can. So as soon as you're able to put it up, that's when you want to put it, because like I said, you don't want to take any damage, because when someone's on the high ground, you know, your head's gonna be really exposed to them, and if someone gets a headshot on you, it's gonna do, you know, 60 to 70 damage, you know, depending on the gun, but it's gonna do a lot of damage. So avoiding any headshots is really important. So when ramping up to a guy, a lot of the times from their angle, they're not going to be able to shoot at your stairs, because most people, they'll just shoot you down. But from their angle, they're only going to be able to shoot the top and the floor panel. So that's why this is really effective when rushing up. And there's a lot of things you can do with it. You know, if you're rushing up to a guy and, you know, you're going to shot in the back, you can build walls around you, you can turn around. There's a lot of things you can do from this. It's not just, you know, ramp up on one guy. So maybe if you're playing, you know, a duo game and your teammate dies, so it's 1-on-2, or if you're getting pinched in solos, you can build around you. You can use it to turn. You can use it as protection. You just gotta get creative, and that's the main idea when it comes to building faster, is being able to do a lot of simple builds and do it really quick. And that's all it really does. There's nothing really too complicated about building. It's just doing a lot of simple things and doing it really quick. Here, I want to talk about a game mechanic that you have to know and is really important, understanding the game mechanics. And this is basically how it works. So, say if you want to edit the wall, right? And you go for the edit and you have your map out, right? You already have your map out. You can edit. When you edit the wall, you can put your stairs right away, right? You can start building. But if you go to edit the wall and you have your gun out, say if you don't have your map already, like right here, notice I had to pull out a map for the second time just to start building again. So it's something you guys have to know, is say if you have your gun out and you go to edit a wall, as soon as you finish editing the wall, your gun will come right back out. But if you have your map out and you go to edit, you already have your map out again when you go to build, so you can build right away. You don't have to press B again, and it's something you guys just have to know. And it's really, it's a game mechanic that if you know, it's really effective. So like I said, when you go to edit this and you already have your map out, you can start building right away. And that's the key, to a lot of building things. And especially for this one, when you go to edit and you put your wall in, see, I can build right away. If I were to have my gun out, I would not be able to do that. So I'm able to build a lot quicker just because I already have my map out before even going into the edit. And I feel like a lot of players aren't aware of that mechanic, and they don't understand, sometimes why they're building, and they can't build right away. And that's why, make sure if you're going for the build and you're gonna have to build right after, make sure you already have your map out when going into the edit, because that's really crucial into building faster. Right here is just like the first thing, and I'm gonna show you what you guys can do. And say if someone were on the high ground and they jump on top of you, right? They're above you, right here, and you need to get out very quickly. There's a thing you can do, right? So you always want to have your map out because you can build right away. And what you want to do is you want to edit the wall, and as soon as you edit, you want to put a platform out in front of you. And then as soon as you get on the platform, you want to put a wall behind you to block them off, and then you put a ramp, and you can get the high ground that way. Because a lot of people, they'll jump on top of your platform, and then they'll start to run, towards the back. And when they run towards the back, that gives you a perfect opportunity to come up out the top and get the high ground on them. So I'll show it again. I'm going up the ramp, I box myself in. So they say they're on top right here. I want to edit out, put the ramp, put the wall, get the high ground real fast. And you know how quick that is? If someone's on top of your platform and you can do that real fast and get the high ground, they're not going to be ready for it, because they think if you're boxing yourself in, you're not going to be that good. So if you can outplay the enemy like this, thinking that they're not as good, and they let their guard down a little bit, but as soon as they drop down, take advantage of that, get the high ground right away. And the best time in the challenge is when you're on the high ground. As most of you guys know, having the high ground is such an advantage in Fortnite. And you don't really want to challenge from the low ground because, like I said, your head's more exposed. So the only time, so basically you want to try to get the high ground and then challenge. So that's really important, just getting the high ground first before challenging in the gunfight. And here's a full speed examples of what I mean. So edit out, put the platform, put the wall behind, and get the high ground. So it's really quick. That really gives the enemy any time to get a shot off before you already get the high ground. And that's tip number 2, and that's a really good tip. And for my third tip, this is something, this is another thing. If a guy has the high ground on you and you want to try to ramp up to the guy, the best thing you can do is box yourself in, edit out just like that, and put the wall in front of you and wall above you. And the wall above you, it gives you extra protection, from getting shot. And it's also, if the guy tries to shoot you out, he has to shoot out that wall and the wall below you. So that's why it's really effective, because it protects you, not once but twice from getting shot down. And it's definitely something you want to do. And always when you ramp it up to a guy, you want to put something above you so they can't shoot you, whether that's a platform or another stair. Just anything you can not to get shot is what you want to do. And right when you get up here, something is really important that really helps. Once you get the high ground, you don't want them to shoot you out, because if you do have the high ground, what you can do is you can put the platform out in front of you and place it under the ramp. And when you place it under the ramp, it gives you extra protection. From down here, from his perspective, if you look up, he has to shoot out that platform and the stairs that you're on to knock you down. So he has to shoot out 2 of your builds to knock you down. And by that time, if you see him shooting at you, you can just laser him from the above, because you have the high ground, and you're going to get a lot of easy shots and a lot of high damage shots, because more of the head's going to be exposed. And here it is again, edit out real fast, ramp up as fast as you can, one wall below and one wall above. The reason you want to box yourself in is when you put yourself in the box, you have the wall in front of you, so you're able to put the stairs below and the stairs above. And of course, a lot of good players will see this coming. So, and most of the time, you won't have the high ground right away, and you're gonna have to, get into a build fight, try to outbuild them, do anything you can to get the high ground. But this is something that's really, really effective, and you see this a lot, and a lot of really good players do this. Here's exactly what I'm talking about, full speed, and here we go, edit out, ramp up really, really quickly, and turn around as fast as I can. And you do this quick enough, you're gonna have the high ground right away. But if not, if you're facing a guy who can build fast, you might have to do it a few times or get creative, because you're not gonna, sometimes if you're facing a really, really good builder, you're not gonna have the high ground right away, because a lot of good builders are gonna know what you're doing, and they're either gonna try to shoot you out, and if they try to shoot you out, like I said, you have the two ramps to protect you. You should be good as long as you don't go any higher than 3 or 4 ramps. You should be good. If you go up like 6 or 7 ramps, even me, I would shoot you out really, really quick. So 3 or 4 at the max, turn around, get the high ground, and if you have the high ground, of course, put that platform down too, so they can't shoot your ramp out, to give you 2 protections. Have you ever seen in my clips when I do this method, I always like to do a double ramp with walls right after. If I'm trying to get the high ground and I'm playing against like a duo or squad, against a solo, not so much. There's no really point of that. If I'm playing against like duo or squads, I try to get as much protection as possible, and I use a lot of floor panels in my builds as extra protection. So when I get the high ground, it's harder to shoot me out. And those are my 3 tips and techniques that, I think you guys should start learning and start practicing in playground mode. So when it comes to actual games, you can use these tips and you're going to build way, way faster. You're going to outbuild everyone, and you're just going to become an absolute god using these. So definitely practice these. If you can master them, you will be a way faster builder. And being a quick builder in Fortnite will set you up to win a lot more games and completely dominate in Fortnite. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, smack that like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and make sure to turn on my post notifications to get notified every single new video. And I'll see you guys in the next video.